Hey, how you doing? This is Ray with an update. I've been having a lot of problems, with reference to medical issues, and ended up in the hospital again at Duke. I was trying to secure some medication that was convenient with my allergies, and unfortunately, wasn't able to secure it in time. And so my body ended up swelling up. In February, I had what do you call it? Influenza, double pneumonia. It weakened my heart. I almost died. That's how sick I was. And from that stemmed, I went ahead and got medications in the hospital. But the bulk of the medications in the hospital that was prescribed to me had sulfur in it, and I'm allergic to sulfur. So that guaranteed that me in a weakened state, I was almost dead already, would go ahead and suffer more wonderful visits at Duke Hospital. And so I currently reside at Duke Hospital. Basically, the heart just got so weak. And it's called heart failure, 20%, 25% pumping rate. At this point, it was 30% when I first got all this stuff, but now it's like 25, 20%. And when that happens, is that uh, the heart can't get the fluid all around the body, and as a result of that, um, fluid builds in the body. So then you have to help the heart to get rid of it with diuretics. Diuretic is just a medication that just pulls water out of your body. And I was trying to get it, but diuretic they initially gave me, even on the second visit, was also with sulfur, which is just phenomenal. These people. It's just, I have a primary care physician. He told me, he said, look, your problem is that you're not typical like everybody else were. Yes, you have an allergic reaction to sulfur, but your allergic reaction it occurs when it's incremented, when you get compounded levels of sulfur, then you would have your reaction. So it's a cumulative, not just an instant reaction. You take sulfur instantly. No, it's more of a cumulative effect. Meaning, I took a teaspoon of peanut butter today, nothing happened, but took another teaspoon tomorrow, and 10 days after that, then all of a sudden I get a big reaction, and I just about die. And that's sort of like an example of what happens here. And here's the thing, is that these doctors, even though the chart says no sulfur please, and they'll go ahead and give you something. Oh, look, you tolerate that well. You tolerate Lasix well, and Bumex, and all this other stuff well, and albuterol. But it's really ingesting a little bit here, a little bit there, and then when it all accumulates, then all of a sudden the reaction was wonderful too. Chest constriction, abdomen hard as a rock, difficulty breathing, all this other stuff. And guess what? Because the heart was already bare, and it got even worse. So ended up in the hospital again. I was on an outpatient clinic visit, and I was just starting to feel horrible. And after a certain build of the fluids, it's interesting because pneumonia, these folk, they don't do like it used to be, where you just get hit with a lot of antibiotics until you knock the crap out. I mean, no, nowadays is that these new medications is like, uh, we'll go ahead and like slowly get this stuff out. Um, but we're not gonna really tell you how long it's gonna come out. So I don't know. I'm here again, and I'm arguing with these folk. Here's the thing: is that May 1st, I saw my cardiologist. I said to her, looked her dead in the eye. I said, I don't trust you. She works for Duke Cardiology. I said, I don't trust you. Looked her in the eye. I said, look, the medications you've been prescribed, giving me, have sulfur, and I'm allergic to them. And it's interesting because she didn't have to give me the medication herself because there's actually alternatives. Oh, then finally during that one clinic visit, she's like, okay, I'll go ahead and give you a non-sulfur alternative. I'm like, what? You've had one all along and you didn't give it to me, and now I suffer even worse heart failure than the first time. So it's just, anyway, I'm here. I didn't anticipate being at Duke again. I promised myself that if I got sick, I wouldn't return to Duke. Promised myself. But here's the thing. While I was here in the lobby for an outpatient clinic visit, I got sick. And I couldn't even get back to my car to go home. And I was in the lobby, in main lobby of the hospital. And an administrator says, are you feeling all right, sir? I said, no, I think I need to go to the ER. And she said, okay, I'll help you. And then she was trying to escort me to the ER. I couldn't even make that. It's like, dude, when fluid builds up like that, it's difficulty breathing and moving. I mean, the heart is already lowered, so the energy level is almost gone, and it's just. So I was in the hallway, and rapid response came from the hospital, the other half of the hospital, and they took me to the ER, and of course, they found I was still a lot of fluids in the lungs, and but now I'm actually on medication. It doesn't have sulfur, so what should have happened in February is now happening, and it's unfortunate because clinging to life, basically. And on the day that I got admitted again, I had gone to the orthopedic. Orthopedic was awesome here at Duke, and they listen to you. I said, I told them, and when I initially consulted with them, I said, I think my spine is so messed up. It's interfering with my breathing and with my esophagus. And so, oh my gosh, dude, they ran every test. MRI, EOS, and everything. And we were in the office, she's like, look, your spine is not interfering with your esophagus. It's purely coronary, it's purely cardiac problem that you got. And so then we ruled that out. But it's interesting. Let me say this one last thing. I got these doctors. They are still trying to pitch diabetic medication here, and they're all the little products. Jardiance, I think it's called. And here's the thing: is that there was a time in medical practice, real good medical practice, where they gave you this syrupy, really sure. They asked you to fast, and once they asked you to fast, they would ask you to come in, and they would hit you with a shot of this sugary, nasty stuff. And sometimes they would also actually do 2 week record of taking your, finding out what your sugar levels were, and you measure it and give them back to verify that you got diabetes by saying sugar levels are always high, and you can't do one basic thing is all of a sudden ingest a big gulp of sugar and your body can't process it. They don't do that no more. Now they talk about A1C and all this other stuff. And here's the thing. It's crazy because consistently my sugar levels have been good, but yet and still this doctor's still trying to sell me some Jardiance because Jardiance is good for diabetes, and you have diabetes. The numbers don't match your records, dude. I don't know what record you're reading. So it's like, I mean, these doctors don't even go by numbers of actual results of when they prick you to check your sugar. They just, your A1C is not 70 or 80. You're at 108 or 110. And that's pre-diabetic. Okay, I remember my dad, the diabetic wonder of the world, when you had sugar, coffee with your sugar. I mean, that thing's just had so much sugar. And here's the thing is that it's like, I know what diabetics do. Like my aunt, one of my aunts, she used to get sweet tea from her. Oh my gosh. The picture, the clear plastic picture, you look at it in the refrigerator and you see at the bottom, a third of the bottom was full of sugar. Full of sugar. Just pure sugar, like a pound of sugar was just thrown up in there. And they wonder why they had diabetes. I never had that stuff. And so I know my eating habits, and I looked at the numbers here. They never come up bad. And but yet this guy is still trying to sell diabetic medication. Bottom line is this: I'm in the hospital. It's continued. It's trying to recuperate. Finally got non-sulfur medications here to draw away the water. But my heart is just almost finished. It's almost finished. I mean, it's just gone. So barely pumping, and the water level in my body now, because it can't pump right now, I have to take a medication to take the water out. Just crazy shit. I mean, and like I said, I was working on getting the non-sulfur medication. It was crazy because I was at the orthopedic appointment. I said, let me go to the cardiology department to go ahead and see about getting this diuretic to get this water out. I mean, I looked at my legs. They started becoming elephant legs again. And I said, oh my God, something's wrong here. I'm swelling up. I'm retaining water. Let me go get something to get rid of this water. And I did my due diligence, contacted the doctor. But here, she sent a prescription to the pharmacy without prior approval from my insurance. So it was a $800 prescription that just my insurance would cover based on what the pharmacist was telling me. He said, based on your conditions, based on the fact that you're allergic to sulfur, your insurance will pay for it. I just about guarantee, based on my experience working there. But your doctor didn't send prior approval. So apparently on Friday, the prior approval person who does that paperwork, I had gone to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy sent doctor a notice. They got it in time 2 days before I showed up for the clinic visit. And the person who does prior approval was out. Now, this is a big hospital. So, like, only one person will available to do prior approval. So, and then the nurse from my cardiologist was like, "Well, you'll probably get the medication you need by Wednesday." And this was Friday, and I was suffering symptoms. I'm like, I'm not gonna last. Did you not hear what I'm saying? I'm not functioning well. I'm not. I feel like I'm starting to drown again. When you have pneumonia, it's your fluid gets filled in your lungs to the point where you start to gurgle, and it's like drowning. And I started to drown again. I said I'm not gonna last, and so I didn't even last coming out the lobby of the. She was the cardiologist nurse was supposed to call me back, and never did. I waited in the hospital cafeteria. Ate a coconut curry fish. It was awesome. It was some rice. And was waiting for a phone call. Never got a phone call back. And so waited in the hospital for about an hour, half 2 hours. Before I decided to let me just go on, try to mosey on home. But by that time, the water had filled further, and I was having difficulty breathing to the point I couldn't even make it out the hospital. Even though I promised myself I would never go to Duke ER again, I couldn't even make it out the building, and I had to go to Duke ER. That's what happened. Biggest thing is this: you have to be your own advocate. You have to know what you're allergic to, and insist and look this stuff up and make sure they don't give you that stuff you're allergic to. It's a presumption of intelligence, but it's a reality of ignorance and negligence. Negligence. That's all it is. They so steady on selling their product. I'm sure the medications that they sell are the cheapest to manufacture and widely manufactured and the lowest cost. So they just want to give it to everybody, but that regardless of whether you're allergic or not. And it was funny because I was told in the ER this last time here by Amelia, the MD, she said, "I'll guarantee you're not going to get any more sulfa medication. I guarantee it while you're here." And she, well, take care. I'm getting up the right. Yep, you just gotta be careful. Dang.